Chapter 1191. Therefore, the atmosphere of today's competition was much livelier than yesterday. There were no funny elements like devil class. There were no tricks like using external elements to cheat. All of them were real talents competing against each other. Everyone's gazes were on the arena. Yiqing Luo's arrival didn't attract much attention. Yiqing Luo had the academy's wooden token and easily entered the waiting area. The waiting area was filled with students from high profound class 2. Passing through the waiting area, one would be able to reach the backstage of the arena. She had just quietly walked to the backstage when she heard a disdainful sneer. "Isn't this the first place in the preliminary round, devil classes student Yi? What wind blew you here?" Yiqing Luo's mind was filled with looking for a Feng and had no energy to bother about the students from high profound class 2. But that person was obviously jealous because she didn't manage to get first place yesterday. Seeing that Yiqing Luo turned a deaf ear to her, she walked over directly and tugged at her collar. A gust of wind blew and the female student felt a dull pain in her wrist. She cried out and retracted her hand as she took a few steps back. Xuelon. Student Lu Xuelon. A few students from high profound class 2 immediately went forward to support Lu Xuelon. Yiqing Luo's slender brows were tightly knitted as she withdrew the profound energy in her hands and looked at them indifferently. "I have something urgent, don't bother me." Student Yi. The male student standing next to Lu Xuelon had a solemn expression on his face. "The reason why devil class took first place, you know it clearly in your heart. Don't think that just because devil class took first place in the preliminary round, you can be complacent and look down on others." That tone, that attitude. It was exactly like when he was preaching to the younger generation. Yiqing Luo frowned as her brows were filled with impatience. "It seems that I've never put you in my eyes, so don't put gold on your face." The implication was that devil class didn't get first place. She, Yiqing Luo, didn't put the students from high profound class 2 in her eyes. That male student's long speech was suddenly stuck in his throat as his face sunk and turned green. Yiqing Luo glanced at Lu Xuelon from the corner of her eyes as her lips twitched in disdain. "I really don't know how you entered high profound class 2, thinking that you're the strongest in the entire academy. It seems like your intelligence isn't that good." Yiqing Luo's eyes were masked with a trace of ridicule. She raised her brows and laughed coldly. "The one who defeated you guys was intermediate profound class 2. It has nothing to do with me. If you feel that you lost in the second round yesterday and lost the face of your high profound class 2, if you want to regain your confidence, then go look for intermediate class 2. Blocking me here, is this the style of your high profound class 2? He spoke one sentence after another as if he wasn't even out of breath. A cold glint flashed past Yiqing Luo's charming eyes as her eyes were filled with ridicule. High profound class 2's other students who were originally sitting by the side indifferently, were all infuriated by Yiqing Luo's words. A few students with a fiery temper directly stood up from their seats as they furiously charged towards Yiqing Luo. "What nonsense are you talking about? If not for the fact that intermediate profound class 2 colluded with the dark forces and used the dark forces' forbidden arts to raise their strength, how could we possibly lose to intermediate profound class 2? Yiqing Luo smiled. "Really? Then why was devil class able to get first place against intermediate profound class 2 who used the dark forces' forbidden arts to raise their strength to earth profound 6th grade? Chapter 1192. If devil class also lost to intermediate profound class 2, they still had a chance. After intermediate profound class 2's profound yin qi was exposed, they could request for another battle with devil class. Then they could obtain the first place in the preliminary round. But devil class won. And it was a crushing victory over the cheating intermediate profound class 2. They were like eggplants that had been hit by frost, wilting. Similarly against intermediate profound class 2 who cheated, high profound class 2 couldn't win. Devil class who was despised by everyone and treated as a joke had won. They had no right to issue another challenge to devil class. However, they were the second most talented class in the Heavenly Academy, second only to the class of gods. They were hailed as the strongest class in the entire academy apart from the freaks in the class of gods. But in this round of competition, they had lost all their face. Not comparable to intermediate profound class 2, not comparable to devil class. Their existence was simply a joke. Coming to take part in the semi-finals today, they had already received quite a number of mocking gazes and disdainful rolls of eyes. It seemed like everyone was mocking the incompetence of high profound class 2. Yesterday's arrogant high profound class 2. Today all of them were holding in their anger, like mute people hiding in the waiting area. When they saw Yi Qing Luo appearing, the swelling anger in their hearts finally vented out uncontrollably. The huge commotion in the waiting area of high profound class 2 had attracted the attention of others. Quite a number of gazes had already turned over. The main elder's gaze also followed the sound. Lu Shuelon and the others' faces turned pale instantly. Nestled in the arms of the male student, the injured Lu Shuelon clenched her teeth, the expression on her face was filled with fear. While clutching her injured hand, she moved closer to the direction of high profound class 2. From one look, it was obvious that Yi Qing Luo was bullying the students of high profound class 2. Yi Qing Luo had no intention to explain. Seeing Lu Shuelon and these obstructing dogs finally moved away. She walked directly towards the backstage, not even sparing them a glance. Student Yi. Lu Shuiyu suddenly stood up, as her icy cold gaze looked at Yi Qing Luo's back. Tomorrow, high profound class 2 will go all out. Yi Qing Luo's footsteps paused slightly, as she turned her head sideways, her eyes curved, holding a smile which didn't look like a smile. I hope you will really go all out, and not learn the tragedy of intermediate profound class 2. Lu Shuiyu's expression changed slightly. Yi Qing Luo didn't say anything else as she had already walked into the backstage. The hatred between high profound class 2 and devil class. It was also enough for the dark forces to make use of high profound class 2. Not a single one from intermediate profound 2. Another high profound class 2. As long as humans were greedy, resentful, the dark forces would have something on them and would devour them completely. When she reached the backstage, Feng was already waiting for her there. Yi Qing Luo politely greeted the masters around her and walked over to Feng, her lips curled into a smile. Supreme Mo, her voice was filled with flattery. Her voice was soft and charming, as if it could melt one's bones. Feng shuddered, and his face turned green and black. Was this woman taking revenge on him on purpose? If the Overlord were to see her in this state, the Overlord would definitely hack her into pieces. Supreme Master Mo is the substitute teaching master of Devil class. I have some matters which I would like to ask Supreme Master Mo alone. Yi Qing Luo smiled sweetly, as her crafty eyes were filled with rippling luster. Feng's body tensed up, as he replied with a deep "N." The two of them walked towards the temporary resting room at the backstage. Chapter 1193. Yi Qing Luo sensed and confirmed that there was no one around. Where is Xian? Do you have any way to contact him? She asked her motive directly. Win's expression congealed, that handsome face with Supreme Mo was suffused with a trace of coldness. This disguise skill was so superb that it could pass off as the real thing. Even the changes in his pores and expression were so real that one couldn't differentiate it. Totally couldn't tell that it was a disguise. Yi Qing Luo clearly saw the flash of coldness on Win's face and the icy coldness in his eyes. She frowned slightly as she suppressed the displeasure in her heart and repeated, I have an urgent matter to look for Xian. Win's expression congealed once again. It was as if a layer of frost had formed on his face. Yi Qing Luo knew that Wind hated her. especially hated her for pestering Dmo Xian. But she had not expected that Win's hatred towards her had reached such a stage. She merely asked for Xian's contact details and he treated her with such hatred. Yiqing Luo's brows knitted even tighter as her pink lips pursed into a line. Wind, you're Xian's guard, on account of Xian's face, I won't haggle with you. I have an urgent matter to look for Xian, you. Haggle. Wind, who was silent for a while, slowly spat out 2 words. He laughed lightly as the icy coldness in his eyes became more obvious. You're haggling with me. He had been brought into the imperial palace by Dmo Xian since young. Dmo Xian gave him a life that he had never had since he wandered outside. Although Dmo Xian was cold towards him. But Dmo Xian gave him a home that could shelter him from the wind and rain. Later on, when the imperial palace's grandma selected 4 guards for Dmo Xian, he joined them without any hesitation. After 5 long years of struggle, in the arduous training, life-threatening missions, killing each other with his own comrades, and finally standing out, he finally stood beside Dmo Xian. He had always believed in Dmo Xian as his own god. Even if he had to lose his life for Dmo Xian, he was willing. But the god he believed in had fallen because of a trash, arrogant and despotic woman. In Win's eyes, Yiqing Luo was an unbearable woman. There was no gentleness and gentleness of a woman. There wasn't the slightest hint of a woman's gentleness. Relying on Dmo Xian's favor, he made use of Dmo Xian's power time and time again to achieve his own goals. He who only wanted to stay by Dmo Xian's side, was also sent to Yiqing Luo's side. In order to protect Dmo Xian, he worked hard to become the strongest guard. Yet, he was forcefully sent to secretly protect a woman that he looked down on. Win's dissatisfaction towards Yiqing Luo grew by the day. Wind couldn't help but sneer in his heart. In his eyes, Yiqing Luo was in a hurry to look for Dmo Xian. Wasn't it because she wanted to show off to him? Wanted to complain to Dmo Xian and punish him? He had followed this narrow-minded girl for a few months and had long seen through her. Pa! The crisp sound of a slap resounded throughout the lounge. Yiqing Luo kept her numb and burning hand as her lips curled into a faint smile. She squinted her eyes as she gazed at Win's. So realistic that she could clearly see the clear palm print on that face as she sneered. Wind, you're Xian's guard and are loyal to Xian, so I've tolerated you several times. But that doesn't mean that I'm very patient. She had never been a patient person. Especially when her patience was exhausted, she would not tolerate any further. Win's words were rude and disrespectful to her. There were a few times where he targeted her openly and secretly, but as it was a harmless matter, she just let Win be. But now she was looking for Dmo Xian urgently. Chapter 1194. Towards people who didn't like her. Yiqing Luo didn't need to show him any face. You. Feng covered his face with his hand. His frozen eyes were suddenly filled with rage. He gritted his teeth as he stared at Yiqing Luo resentfully. As though it wanted to skin Yiqing Luo alive. Ever since he was brought back to the palace by Dmo Xian, he had never suffered such humiliation. No one could leave such a humiliating slap on his face. This woman, she actually dared to hit him. Since you like the hard way, then I'll do it with you. Yiqing Luo scoffed as she grabbed his collar. The main elder's robe was extremely loose. Yiqing Luo used a little strength and easily lifted Feng up. She sneered as there was no emotion in her eyes. No matter what you think of me, remember it well. I am the woman chosen by Xian, and also your future mistress. Your disrespect to me is equivalent to disrespecting Xian. Now, I'm executing my future rites to teach you a lesson on behalf of Xian. Are you convinced? Yiqing Luo said it word by word. Every word was like a bell as it fell into Win's ears. Win's body tensed up as the anger on his face grew, shameless. She had yet to marry into his family and already claimed to be his future mistress. How could she be so certain that the overlord would marry her in future? No matter what the future is, at least for now, the woman who is acknowledged by Xian is me. After Yi Qing Luo finished her sentence, her fingers loosened. Win's body was like a broken kite as he fell onto the ground. He was still tensed up as he clenched his fists tightly and his entire body was trembling. A 17-year-old young man who was brought back to the palace by Dmo Xian at the age of 8 and stood beside him at the age of 14. He had accompanied Dmo Xian for 3 years. He was very clear that this time he was going to leave Dmo Xian's side completely. This woman, a vengeful woman, would not let him off. Seeing Win still sitting on the ground in a daze, not saying a word. Yi Qing Luo's patience was exhausted. Tell me Xian's contact method. If you don't tell me, I'll barge into the Arch Palace myself. Feng raised his head and looked at the extremely impatient and anxious woman in front of him. He laughed softly and said, I can contact Dizun. Tell him that I'm looking for him. I'll be waiting for him at the dormitory. Yi Qing Luo dropped this sentence and left without even turning her head back. She wasn't worried that Wind hated her and purposely didn't pass her words to Dmo Xian. Since Feng was willing to say it, he would definitely do it. Furthermore, Yi Qing Luo believed that Win's respect towards Dmo Xian was genuine. No matter how much Feng disliked her, she was also Dmo Xian's woman. This was an indisputable fact. Returning to the dormitory, Long Yunzhan had already brought the devil class students to the dense forest at the back of the mountain for training. Yi Qing Luo directly returned to her own room. Not long after entering the Azure Dew bracelet to train her profound qi, Yi Qing Luo sensed someone approaching her. She withdrew her divine sense, opened her eyes, and came face to face with a pair of sparkling peach blossom eyes. That peerless face was close at hand, emitting a dazzling temptation. Her hand stretched out and circled around his waist, burying her face into his abdomen. Xian. Dmo Xian's large palm caressed the back of her head, looking at her lovingly. Why are you in such a hurry to find me? Did you miss me? Yi Qing Luo raised her head and looked around, her curly long eyelashes forming a shadow on her face. Chapter 1195. Do you want it or not? Dmo Xian raised his brows as he looked at her. Yi Qing Luo replied honestly, yes, but I'm looking for you not only because I miss you. It's rare that Lil Luo takes the initiative to look for me. Tell me, what's the urgent matter? Dmo Xian's fingers went into Yi Qing Luo's hair as he gently caressed it. His slightly calloused fingertips brushed past her scalp. Yi Qing Luo's petite body trembled slightly as she slowly lowered her eyes. Her heart inexplicably pounded like a drum. She couldn't help but moved her head as she rubbed against his slender fingers. Xian, has Feng Ling returned to the imperial palace? The large palm on the back of her head paused as the man's deep voice floated down from above. Did she find trouble with you? Currently, other than you, no one else can find trouble with me. Yi Qing Luo pursed her pink lips. In that case, she really looked for you. Dmo Xian's fingers slid to her lower jaw as he slightly exerted force and met her charming eyes. Why did she look for you? His expression was calm as his shimmering peach blossom eyes were filled with that thick pampering. Yi Qing Luo's long curly lashes fluttered. What do you think she would look for me for? Dmo Xian remained silent. His pupils were as resplendent as obsidian as he gazed at her. After some time, his brows creased slightly as he revealed a sliver of helplessness. I shouldn't have asked her to come over. Why was it that Yi Qing Luo was trapped by the enchantment back then? If it wasn't for the enchantment, he wouldn't need to specially call Feng Ling over. Feng Ling she was too much of a troublemaker. Yiqing Luo pursed her lips as she caught his large palm. If she really bullied me, what would you do? She asked this question not to probe who was more important in Dmo Xian's heart or something as senseless as that. But she wanted to know from Dmo Xian's mouth what position Feng Ling held in his heart, as well as the extent of his respect towards the imperial palace's granny. After all, if Feng Ling really cooperated with the dark forces, Dmo Xian would have to make a choice sooner or later. What does little Luo think I will do? Dmo Xian hugged her slender waist tightly as he asked in a low voice. Yiqing Luo was encircled in his embrace, her little body nudged and climbed onto his shoulder, her arms circling around his neck as her pink lips moved close to his ear. I want to hear you say it. The fragrance of a woman seeped into his nose. Her warm breath was faintly discernible on his skin. Dmo Xian's eyes darkened and the arm that was encircling her delicate body tightened. Good girl, she actually learned how to seduce him. If it wasn't for... He didn't want others to see Yiqing Luo's beauty. He didn't mind. He directly followed Lil Luo's seduction, pressing her down and eating her clean. Closing his eyes, Dmo Xian held back his desire and wrapped his arms around her tightly, as if he wanted to integrate her into his body. You are my only reverse scale. Dmo Xian's thin lips stuck to the side of her ear as he said it word by word. Yiqing Luo's body was completely limp. Reverse scale. His only reverse scale. Which meant to say that in this world, there was nothing, no one, who was more important than her. Which meant to say that if Feng Ling really did something harmful to her, he would not care about Granny's face and show mercy to Feng Ling. Which meant to say that for her, he could give up everything. Her heart softened at this moment. Tears welled up in her eyes for some reason. These were tears of happiness. She hugged Dmo Xian's neck tightly as her heart was filled with sweetness. Chapter 1196. Yiqing Luo was concise and comprehensive as she narrated the entire sequence of events as well as her own guesses. Until she finished talking about the possibility of Feng Ling collaborating with the dark forces, she paused slightly. Ah Xian, if Feng Ling is really collaborating with the dark forces, it will definitely implicate the imperial palace. Yiqing Luo pursed her lips, and now you're provoking the imperial palace with great fanfare, and wanting to destroy Wolf Saint's forces. When Feng Ling's matter is exposed, everyone will feel that you're slapping your own face. What she didn't want the most was to see Dmo Xian being implicated because of her matters. The imperial palace was Dmo Xian's blood and sweat. She didn't wish for the imperial palace to be destroyed in Feng Ling's hands. I know. Dmo Xian held her little hand tightly as he placed it by his lips and kissed it. I'll settle this matter, you don't need to worry. Just lead the devil class to take part in the competition and win the position of the champion. Yiqing Luo didn't try to show off and wanted to settle this matter together with Dmo Xian. Instead, she nodded her head obediently. This matter not only implicated her and Dmo Xian, and the entire imperial palace. She hadn't really married Dmo Xian, so naturally it wasn't good for her to interfere in this matter. Just Wind alone already had a lot of opinions about her. Yiqing Luo didn't want to become the hated target of everyone in the imperial palace before she even married into the family. This thought surfaced in her mind. Yiqing Luo's cheeks flushed red as she suddenly plunged into Dmo Xian's arms. She was actually thinking about marrying Dmo Xian. She was actually considering marrying into the family. She wanted to get married so badly. What's the matter? Sensing the lady's inexplicable shyness, he lifted her chin as he asked in a deep voice, what shameful matter are you thinking about again? Yiqing Luo's cheeks turned even redder. Shameful matter. Why did this sentence sound so weird? Seeing Yiqing Luo's cheeks turning even redder, Dmo Xian's deep peach blossom eyes turned even darker. The hand which locked onto Yi-Ching Luo's waist increased its strength once again. He bent over and his voice was hoarse with magnetism. If Lil Luo wants, I'll come over tonight and repeat the things you're thinking about, alright? Yi-Ching Luo, they were definitely not thinking about the same thing. What she wanted was to marry Dmo Xian. Over and over again. Even if he was willing, she would find it tiring. In ancient times, the phoenix coronet and robes were simply too heavy. That kind of tiredness, for Dmo Xian, once was enough. But what Dmo Xian was thinking? It was definitely something indescribable. Men were indeed animals that thought with the lower half of their body. Yi-Ching Luo rolled her eyes as she cupped his cheeks with both her hands and directly placed her lips on his as she planted a fierce kiss on his lips. Indeed, it was just a seal. Immediately, she pushed Dmo Xian away. Go back and continue with your work. He hadn't even tasted her and was forcefully pushed away, and now he was being chased back. Dmo Xian expressed his unwillingness. Hence, his long arms scooped and locked Yi-Ching Luo in his arms as he lowered his head and bit her lips. He didn't let go of her until he had thoroughly tasted her from inside out. Yi-Ching Luo was in a daze from the kiss as she laid limply in his arms, panting heavily. Nothing else you want to tell me? Dmo Xian clicked his tongue in satisfaction as he hugged Yi-Ching Luo contentedly as he sat down by the bed. Yi-Ching Luo's little face flushed red as she rubbed against his arms but didn't make a sound. Dmo Xian gave a low laugh as he lowered his head, insisting on meeting Yi-Ching Luo's eyes. Chapter 1197. Dmo Xian was stunned. He lowered his eyes to look at Yi-Ching Luo's bashful look as he laughed softly. So his Lil Luo thought that he wanted her to say some sweet nothings. His Lil Luo was really adorable. Dmo Xian hugged her body tightly as he lowered his head and fiercely nibbled on her lips. Don't you want to complain to me about how wind is against you? Yi-Ching Luo frowned. What has it got to do with wind? Wind has already told me everything. Dmo Xian pinched her nose. My Lil Luo's temper has always been bad. You think a slap can appease your anger? Yi-Ching Luo was speechless. In the end, she burst out laughing. Wind was worried that she would add oil and vinegar to complain to Dmo Xian. So she took the initiative to surrender. No wonder when Wind heard that she wanted to look for Dmo Xian, he revealed such a cold and disdainful expression. This Wind, wasn't he thinking too much? Her slender fingers cupped Dmo Xian's face as she slowly shook her head and smiled. I've never blamed Wind. That slap was to let him understand his own position. I'm after all the woman standing beside you. If I can't even settle your guards, then in this huge imperial palace, there's no place for me to stay. Dmo Xian gently caressed her hair as his thin lips moved slightly. Your place is in my heart. Yi-Ching Luo stared at him. He started flirting just because of a disagreement. Could they still discuss things happily? Following that, suppressing the pink bubbles in her heart, she pouted and continued, anyway, let's just leave Wind's matter like this. How much he dislikes me represents how much he respects you. A person who is willing to sacrifice his life for you and treats you sincerely, I won't haggle over anything. Dmo Xian's deep eyes gazed deeply at the person in his arms. Her words directly stabbed into the bottom of his heart. His peripheral vision glanced at a certain place. He tightened his arms as his chin rested on her shoulder as he laughed in a low and hoarse voice. Lil Luo, I'm finding it harder and harder to let go of you. He knew Yi-Ching Luo's character better than anyone else. He would definitely take revenge for the smallest grievance and would not allow himself to be taken advantage of. If someone offended her by a foot, she would definitely return the favor by a foot. For example, Wind's actions and several bad attitudes were enough to make Yi-Ching Luo take action against Wind. But Yi-Ching Luo didn't have any grudges. Instead, he felt that Ah Feng's actions were reasonable. All of this was because of Ah Feng's loyalty to him. It was only because of him. How could he not love such a little Luo heir? You say it as if you will let go of me. Yiqing Luo patted the back of his hand as she grumbled unhappily. Never, never. Dmo Xian hugged her even tighter, his deep and serene eyes were filled with deep affection. Yiqing Luo's lips curled into a smile. If he didn't let go, she wouldn't let go either. Ah Xian, regarding Ah Feng's matter, you don't have to blame him. Call him back to your side, I don't need any special protection. Yiqing Luo said gently, I don't like people following me in the dark. Dmo Xian shook his head. The dark forces were still extending their claws and fangs. The current Yiqing Luo's ability was far from enough to go against the dark forces. It wasn't only Wind who wanted to specially follow by Yiqing Luo's side. He intended to send more men to protect Yiqing Luo in the dark. As though she saw through Dmo Xian's thoughts, she slowly hugged Dmo Xian's waist tightly as she buried her face into his chest. Chapter 1198. Dmo Xian's smile turned gentler as his eyes were filled with adoration. As though in this entire world, his eyes could only accommodate her alone. His Lil Luo, such a stubborn young lady. He believed that one day in the future, this intelligent and quick-witted young lady would definitely grow to the point where everyone would willingly bow down to her. Wind, come in. He cleared his throat and opened his mouth to call out. Yiqing Luo was stunned as she didn't understand what he meant. She raised her head and looked at Dmo Xian as she was about to ask. But she acutely sensed that the window was opened and a gust of cold wind blew in. She turned her head back abruptly. She saw a delicate figure standing by her bedside. Wasn't that Wind? At this moment, Feng had already removed Supreme Mo's makeup, revealing a delicate and slightly childish face. His entire body was stiff as his muscles tensed up. His face was drained of blood as he was expressionless. The minute he sensed Yiqing Luo's gaze, Wind's knees bent as he knelt down with a putong sound. His voice was icy cold as he said word by word, Miss Yi, I'm sorry for suspecting you. Yiqing Luo blinked as she gazed at Dmo Xian. She saw him raising his brows as he looked at her with a smile which didn't look like a smile, with a look that said, do whatever you want. Yiqing Luo understood. From the beginning, Feng had been listening to their conversation outside the window. And all these were incited by Dmo Xian. Dmo Xian had not expected Wind's hatred towards Yiqing Luo to be so deep. Luckily, although Wind didn't like Yiqing Luo, but for Dmo Xian, he didn't take the opportunity to do anything overboard to her. What was the motive for Dmo Xian to make Wind stand outside the window? Naturally it was to let Wind see for himself that Yiqing Luo wasn't the kind of person he had imagined. Seeking revenge for the smallest grievance was towards outsiders. The loyal and sincere Wind was not considered as an outsider to Yiqing Luo. At this moment, Wind's heart was in turmoil as he was extremely apprehensive. All along, Yiqing Luo's image in his heart had long been deeply rooted. But today, it completely made him view her seriously again. Wind believed that with Dmo Xian's character, he wouldn't leak any information to Yiqing Luo first and let her put up a show in front of him. Dmo Xian disdained to do so. He didn't expect that. The reason why Yiqing Luo was in a hurry to look for Dmo Xian wasn't because of any complaints. It was really an urgent matter. It was an urgent matter concerning the imperial palace. She had even described his feelings towards Dmo Xian so thoroughly. It was as if she knew him very well. He even advised Dmo Xian not to vent his anger on him, and asked Dmo Xian to send him back. Of course, this wasn't because Yiqing Luo despised him, but because he only wanted to stay by Dmo Xian's side, to protect Dmo Xian alone. Ah Feng's gaze towards Yiqing Luo slowly changed his expression. He would always remember the girl in Dizun's arms. Her eyes shone with determination as she said each word as if she was making an oath. I will work hard to grow until I have the qualifications to stand by your side. I will make everyone acknowledge my existence. At that moment, Feng seemed to see a ray of hope in that girl. Inexplicably, he believed that in the near future, this young girl would definitely be able to make everyone acknowledge her. In the West Continent, the tournament was in progress. High Profound Class 2 was agitated by Yiqing Luo earlier and their emotions were unable to calm down for a long time. All of them clenched their fists tightly as their veins popped out. They had always been a high and mighty existence in the academy. Now they were humiliated by a waste of a class student? Chapter 1199. How could the arrogant High Profound Class 2 students feel at ease? Hundreds of them sat angrily at the waiting area, not daring to open their mouths, but in their hearts, they had already cursed the Devil Class and Intermediate Profound Class 2. On the stage, Low Profound Class 2 and Intermediate Profound Class 1 were locked in battle. The preliminary round was a group fight between 10 students. Whereas the semi-final round was directly raised to a group fight between 50 students. The more the number of people, the longer the competition would last. High Profound Class 2 always felt that the gazes of the surrounding people were looking at them with disdain. Those people lowered their heads and discussed animatedly, mocking the sorry state they had been in yesterday. They wanted to leave this place, they couldn't stay any longer. But they had to stay, until the last moment of the competition. The wooden lot drawn by the High Profound Class 2 was against the Low Profound Class 1. It was another battle without any suspense. The High Profound Class 2 students originally wanted to take advantage of today to wash away yesterday's humiliation. But today, God was playing a joke on them again. Drawing Low Profound Class 1. Even if he won, it was within reason. It couldn't be any more normal. Lost. It was absolutely impossible for the High Profound Class 2 to lose. They would never believe that there would be a second Yiqing Luo in the Low Profound Class 1. Just as the crowd was filled with anxiety, gritting their teeth and cursing, the arena competition was not over yet. A tall figure passed through the crowd, slowly walked over. His arrival did not cause much of a commotion. After all, the arena competition was already in an exciting atmosphere. If one missed a detail, it was possible to miss the details of the student's victory. That person accurately walked towards the High Profound Class 2 waiting area. Sensing someone approaching, the High Profound Class 2 students revealed an unfriendly expression, staring fiercely at the approaching person. When their line of sight landed on that person, the expression on their face suddenly became timid. President. Lu Shuiyu was the first to stand up. Her usually expressionless cold face revealed a trace of smile the moment she saw the approaching person. President, why are you here? This person was the gentle as jade Si Yenmu. His expression was gentle, and his green and white uniform made him look even more delicate and elegant. The invisible release of nobility made one's heart palpitate. Si Yenmu smiled warmly. Vice President, there is something urgent in the faculty council that needs you to deal with. Lu Shuiyu was startled. She had been by Si Yenmu's side for so many years and was very clear about his little habits. Naturally, she understood that Si Yenmu was not someone who needed an assistant. If she wasn't there, or if there was no way to deal with it in time, Si Yenmu would handle all the matters of the faculty council in an orderly manner. How could there be something urgent that she had to deal with? However, this was the first time Si Yenmu asked her for help. The taste of happiness filled his heart. Without the slightest hesitation, she handed over the matter of the class competition to Lu Shuilan and left with Si Yenmu on the pretext of dealing with urgent matters in the faculty council. Following behind Si Yenmu, Lu Shuiyu's heart that had been sealed for a long time, at this moment, it couldn't help but beat violently. She looked at Si Yenmu's back in a daze. Even the view of his back made her crazy. This was her president. Lu Shuiyu's lips curled into a smile. Shuiyu. Suddenly, the man in front of him stopped in his tracks. That gentle voice made Lu Shuiyu feel like she was dreaming. She looked at Si Yanmu blankly, that gentle eyebrow, crying out her love for the smile. Shuiyu. Chapter 1200. His gentle voice made Lu Shuiyu a little dazed. Immediately, Si Yanmu's warm palm had already covered her cheek. Lu Shuiyu was shocked and ecstasy surged into her heart. The president actually took the initiative to touch her face. And so gentle, as if he was treating something precious. The strong masculine scent made Lu Shuiyu's breathing quickened and she felt dizzy. She recalled that not long ago, Si Yanmu was also so gentle to her. He would care about her injured hand and treat her wound. It was because of this gentleness. It made Lu Shuiyu sink into it again and again. Unable to extricate herself from his gentle trap. Look at you, absent-minded, could it be that you are worried about the competition later? Si Yanmu helplessly pinched her face. You should believe in your own ability, believe in the ability of high profound class too. This pampering and gentle tone was something Lu Shuiyu had never heard before. She was completely dumbfounded. Her beautiful eyes widened and stared at Si Yanmu in a daze. There was no longer that aloof and noble look on her face. She was no different from an ordinary girl. Si Yanmu's palm slowly moved to her hair and rubbed it. You are the vice president of the faculty council. I believe in you. You will definitely be able to lead the high profound class 2 to win the title of the champion in the interclass competition. Lu Shuiyu's heart was beating wildly. Si Yanmu's warmth covered her whole body. She almost fainted in his scent. President. Lu Shuiyu stuttered as she called Si Yanmu. Her face was blushing. Anyone would know her feelings for Si Yanmu. However, Si Yanmu quickly withdrew his hand. A trace of disdain flashed across his gentle eyes, but it disappeared in an instant. Immersed in Si Yanmu's sudden gentleness, Lu Shuiyu did not notice anything strange about him. Shuiyu, you can relax. Si Yanmu continued to comfort her. Low profound class 1 will only be low profound class 1. It will never be like the devil class. There will be a second Yi Qing Luo. After saying that, he sighed lightly. Student Yi is indeed a rare talent. The intermediate profound class 2 colluded with the dark forces and advanced to the earth profound 6th grade, but was still easily crushed by Student Yi. If Student Yi was in the class of gods, she would definitely have a better future. He seemed to be murmuring to himself. He suddenly realized that he had said too much. He chuckled softly. His face that was as gentle as water revealed a hint of embarrassment as he immediately explained. When I was in the faculty council, I heard quite a number of teachers discussing about the miraculous new student created last night, so I specially came to the West Continent, hoping to witness the splendor of the devil class. The more I listen, the more I speak. His explanation caused Lu Shuiyu's expression to become even more stiff. Chapter 1201. Fortunately, she was smart. She knew Yi Qing Luo was insidious and cunning. When she arranged the killers, she used the name of the collateral relatives. The collateral relatives were secretly exterminated by the imperial palace. At least the Lu family escaped. Lu Shuiyu did not dare to make any other moves after that. Unexpectedly, Si Yanmu's admiration for Yi Qing Luo had deepened. As long as Yi Qing Luo did not die, her president, her Si Yanmu, would be completely seduced by that little slut, by that vixen. Shuiyu, your face. Why is it so ugly? Si Yanmu's gentle voice called Lu Shuiyu back to her senses. Si Yanmu frowned, his fingers gently stroked the sweat on Lu Shuiyu's forehead. My comfort, instead gave you more pressure. No. Lu Shuiyu immediately shook her head. President believes in my ability, I am very happy. Si Yenmu smiled warmly, like a spring breeze. Silly girl, actually even if you lose tomorrow, there is no harm. After all, the opponent is student Yi. As long as you fight well, in this battle, you can learn fighting skills, cooperation with students and so on, it is not bad. These words seemed to be comforting Lu Shuiyu. But, in Lu Shuiyu's ears, there was only one meaning. Si Yenmu said, she was not as good as Yi Qing Luo. She could not beat Yi Qing Luo. Tomorrow's competition, her high profound class 2 would lose to devil class. This sentence deeply provoked Lu Shuiyu. The tight string in her brain broke. President, in tomorrow's competition, my high profound class 2 will definitely win. I will definitely defeat Yi Qing Luo. Lu Shuiyu clenched her fist, urgently needed to prove to Si Yenmu that she could be stronger than Yi Qing Luo. She anxiously grabbed Si Yenmu's arm with both hands. President, you have to believe me. I will be more outstanding than Yi Qing Luo. Shuiyu. Si Yenmu called out to her with a worried look. But under Lu Shuiyu's firm gaze, he slowly lost. He sighed softly, withdrew his hand and stroked her head. If this is what Shuiyu wants, I will do my best to help you. I have a way to help the High Xian Class 2 win the championship. If Shuiyu needs it, come and find me today. Si Yenmu took out a leaf from his waist and handed it to Lu Shuiyu. Lu Shuiyu was startled and took the leaf. Looking down, the name of a place appeared on the leaf. President, this. Lu Shuiyu's heart tightened. Si Yenmu smiled warmly. Go back quickly, the high profound class 2 should be competing in the arena in a while. As the class monitor, you can't be absent for too long. I'll wait for you here at midnight. That gentle tone, and those ambiguous words. This caused Lu Shuiyu to blush. She closed the leaf in her hand and bowed to Si Yenmu. Immediately, like a shy little girl, she shyly left. Until Lu Shuiyu's figure completely disappeared. Si Yenmu, who was originally smiling warmly, suddenly showed a disgusted look on his face. He took out a handkerchief and forcefully wiped his palm that had just touched Lu Shuiyu. His face was full of disgust. He was cursing in a low voice. Suddenly, he felt a warmth on his back and an arm wrapped around his waist. A low husky voice rang in his ear. The beauty's smell is so sweet, why is Mumu still so disgusted? Si Yenmu's disgusted face was immediately replaced by joy. He immediately turned his head and looked up at the man who was half a head taller than him. He wrapped his arms around his neck. Ah, Xiang, why are you here? Chapter 1202. Si Yenmu stared at him resentfully. Isn't it to complete the task you gave me? Saying that, he rubbed his hand against Xiangxing Fa's chest fiercely. Seeing that woman looking at me with a love-struck look, it made me sick. Mumu's face, indeed, can make a beauty infatuated. Xiangxing Fa grabbed his hand and brought it to his lips, chuckling hoarsely. Didn't I make Mumumi fall head over heels for me? Si Yenmu narrowed his eyes, enjoying Xiangxing Fa's gentleness, half acting coquettishly and half complaining. You don't know how disgusted I was before I touched that love-struck woman, she even grabbed my arm. Is it here? Xiangxing Fa touched his arm teasingly, and changed the direction, or... Is it here? Si Yenmu's body stiffened, that extremely gentle face, revealed an unusual shade of crimson red. I will disinfect Mumu properly. As Xiangxing Fa said that, he directly hugged Si Yenmu's waist. The next morning, Yi Qing Luo led the group of youngsters from Devil class, and after their morning exercise, they went to the West Square's waiting area. By now, there were already thousands of onlookers gathered. Today was the third round of the Heavenly Academy's interclass competition, the finals. Everyone was filled with curiosity towards today's competition. There were even quite a number of people who had already set up bets in private. Betting on the Academy's interclass competition was prohibited by the main courtyard. But there was no way to stop some people from secretly setting up bets. It was said that there were thousands of people who had placed their bets in this private bet. Yiqing Luo looked at the waves of onlookers, and her sharp eyes saw that many of the onlookers were holding a piece of white paper in their hands. That was the betting ticket for the private bet. Yiqing Luo coughed lightly, leaned towards Qiao Jin, and lowered her voice to ask, "Jin Zi, have you counted? How much money have you earned, and how much have you bet on devil class?" There are a total of 1,446 people who bought the betting ticket, but those who bet on devil class's victory are only 230 people, and they only bought 10%. Qiao Jin calculated in his heart, if our devil class finally wins, we can earn close to 30,000 gold coins. 30,000 gold coins was enough to buy the entire Shilon Square. When he mentioned gold coins, Qiao Jin's voice trembled. The faces of the few people who were walking closer stiffened. They knew that Yiqing Luo took advantage of the competition to set up a bet or something, which was especially like a female businesswoman, but they had not expected Yiqing Luo to be a female businesswoman. He was just sitting there waiting for the money to come in. Yan Shaoyi glanced at the two of them. "What if we lose?" 1,400 over people. If they were to lose, even if the devil class sold themselves, they might not be able to repay the bet. Yiqing Luo raised her brows. "We will lose." "We won't." Almost at the same time, the devil class students were extremely determined. They would not lose. He couldn't afford to lose either. If they lost, Yiqing Luo's blood vow would come true and they would be burdened with a huge debt. If they won, they would be able to protect their own boss Qing Luo and the honor of devil class. They would be able to obtain 30,000 gold coins. Victory. He had to win. The eyes of the youths in devil class burned with a raging fire. When the youths looked at the students from the other classes in the waiting area opposite them, the fire in their eyes burned even brighter. Chapter 1203. The students from the other classes felt an inexplicable chill down their spines. Those students with stronger senses looked towards the direction of the feeling. They saw the youngsters from the devil class staring at them with a deep expression. A thought emerged in the students' minds. Could it be that the devil class had been stimulated by the pressure? All of them had gone mad. This situation continued until the high profound class 2 students arrived in a grandiose manner. Yesterday's semi-finals, the advanced classes were the high profound class 2, high profound class 1 and low profound class 2. Intermediate profound class 1 and low profound class 1 were eliminated and had no hope of being promoted this year. The low profound class 2 advanced into the finals, which surprised everyone. The principal had already indicated that if the low profound class 2 performed outstandingly in the finals, they could directly promote the low profound class 2 to intermediate profound class 1. Naturally, intermediate profound class 1 would face the result of being demoted. The high profound class 2 had not had any outstanding performance in this interclass competition. Numerous people were guessing. This high profound class 2 would probably be demoted this year. The first preliminary round lost. The second round of semi-finals didn't have any eye-catching performance. This year's high profound class 2 didn't have the popularity and enthusiasm of the previous years. On the contrary, the trash class devil class and the outstanding performance in this competition, the low profound class 2 had high popularity and popularity. Of course, this was because of devil class's preliminary round, which made one not know whether to laugh or cry, as well as Yiqing Luo's stunning appearance at the end. As for the devil class, everyone didn't have much hope. After all, the interclass competition was a team competition and not an individual. One Yiqing Luo could at most help the devil class to reach the finals. After that, the method of the competition, to the devil class, was too unfair. That was. The rules for today's third round was that each class would send out 100 students to the stage for the team battle. Every class had at least 300 to 400 students. Devil class only had 63 people. And they had to exclude Kitty Lee because she wasn't a student of the academy and had not been registered by the academy. This was to prevent others from gossiping about Kitty Lee in the future. Therefore, the devil class could only be counted as 62 people. All the students competed together. That was not as many as the opponents. In terms of numbers, the devil class was at a disadvantage. This rule wasn't to bully the devil class. The rules had always been like this throughout the years. This was also the reason why no one bought devil class tickets when the spectators were gambling privately. Those 200 over people who had bought devil class were totally because of their admiration towards Yiqing Luo, so they gave her some face. Once the high profound class 2 students passed through the devil class's waiting area, a few of them started to mock and ridicule the rules for the day. He originally thought that after Yiqing Luo heard the finals rules, her expression would turn extremely ugly. But they had not expected that Yiqing Luo merely raised her brows lightly as her pink lips curled, so it's like this, then you'd better be mentally prepared. The provoking student's face turned black as he gritted his teeth and said, "If we were to draw your devil class, we will definitely be mentally prepared. We also want to see what other abilities you have to play those little tricks from the preliminaries." Lu Shualan's expression was also extremely ugly. Devil class trash, big brothers and sisters will be merciful. Since the start of the preliminary round, high profound class 2 had always been a laughing stock. Chapter 1204. Qing Luo wants you to be mentally prepared to be ridiculed by others. Tong Zi Qing, who was sitting beside Yiqing Luo, stood up. Her cold and elegant face revealed traces of disdain. High profound class 2's 100 students, against War Devil's class's 62 students. TSK, if high profound class 2 were to lose. She shook her head, feeling extremely regretful. High profound class 2 would have another joke after dinner. You. Lu Shualan's face was steely green, as she stared fiercely at Tong Zi Qing. "You're the one who lost. You're a bunch of trash. You've all lost. Enough." Lu Shuayu, who had been silent, calmly opened her mouth. That exquisite icy cold face was as cold as stagnant water. When she raised her head, everything that came into contact with her gaze seemed to have frozen into frost. Everyone kept quiet, as they looked at Lu Shuayu anxiously. "The competition is about to start, don't complicate matters." Lu Shuayu said this indifferently, as she directly walked towards their waiting area. The other high profound class 2 students immediately followed Lu Shuayu's footsteps. Lu Shuayu. Yiqing Luo squinted her eyes, as she stared at Lu Shuayu's departing figure strangely. Tong Zi Qing shrunk her neck, as she rubbed the goosebumps on her body. "What's going on? When did Vice President have such a strong aura, that gaze? It's too scary." Yiqing Luo nodded her head thoughtfully. It was indeed very strange. She and Lu Shuayu had crossed hands several times. But Lu Shuayu had never had such a strong aura. Even she shuddered because of the coldness just now. "If we really go against high profound class 2, try your best to avoid her, leave it to me." She couldn't understand anything now. Only after crossing hands with Lu Shuayu would she be able to find out what was the change in Lu Shuayu. If Lu Shuayu learned from Shangguan Lu Li, using her soul to make a deal with the dark forces, she would definitely be able to sense it. But Lu Shuayu shouldn't be that dumb, right? 1 hour later, the director and the elders were seated. Yiqing Luo noticed that there was an additional sage-like elder on the main courtyard's elder's seat, and the attitude of the other 2 elders were obviously humble towards him. Presumably, that sage-like elder was either the head dean of the headquarters or the vice-head dean of the headquarters. He was about to look away. However, he was met with a pair of smiling peach blossom eyes. Her heartbeat quickened. DMO Xian. That supreme MO was not wind in disguise, but DMO Xian himself. Didn't he say that he was going to settle the matter between the Imperial Palace and Fengling? Why did he turn into Supreme MO? Cloud knocked on the gong and cleared his throat. After a series of opening remarks, he repeated the rules for the day. When he mentioned that each class would send out 100 students, he looked towards the devil class's waiting area again. There are a total of 62 students in the devil class, so it's really unfair for the devil class to participate in the finals. But rules are rules, and it has always been like this. He paused for a moment and said calmly, "Therefore, I represent the Heavenly Academy to give the devil class a special privilege. As long as any student from the devil class shouts out, 'Admit defeat' or 'Surrender' on the arena stage, the opposing class must immediately stop." The students from the other classes responded in unison. Chapter 1205. The minute this privilege was revealed, it immediately caused an uproar among the crowd. The commotion in the waiting area grew even louder. Wasn't this privilege a little too unreasonable? If they didn't stop, devil class would win. Once the profound chi was released, how could it be so easy to stop? Wasn't this asking them to maintain a cautious state during the battle? If devil class students intentionally shouted to admit defeat when they released their profound chi, then what should they do? But this privilege, if one were to explain in detail, was considered reasonable. After all, other than Yiqing Luo and that class monitor, there was nothing to rely on. And there were only 62 people in devil class. Momentarily, those who agreed and those who disagreed started to argue. Just at this moment, devil class who didn't show any joy towards this privilege, started to speak out a few words which were different from the rest. This privilege. We don't need it. Devil class doesn't need any privilege. Although the number of devil class can't be compared to the other classes, but our desire to win, our desire to have a fair battle, is absolutely not lower than the other classes. The voices of the devil class's students silenced all the clamorous discussions. Yun Duan wasn't angry, as though he had long guessed that devil class students wouldn't accept this privilege. This privilege was merely to shut up the crowd's mouths. Yun Duan looked towards devil class's waiting area. "Devil class students, are you sure to give up this privilege?" Yiqing Luo stood up and walked a few steps forward. She turned around and faced those youngsters sitting in the waiting area, smiling sweetly. "Brothers, what's our slogan? The world is not dead yet, never surrender." Sonorous and forceful, with a hint of youthful immaturity, but powerful words, every word and sentence seemed to be able to ignite the blood in countless people's hearts. Their gazes were firm, clenching their fists without fear. Repeating once again, "The world is not dead yet, never surrender." They absolutely would not surrender. Even if they had to fight till the last second, they would absolutely not surrender. They were devil class students. The mercenaries from the World Mercenary Group. They were the ones who would stand at the top of the world in the future, accompanying the brothers they cared about, overlooking the mountains and rivers beneath their feet, the strongest team. Never surrender. These students' words made the expressions on the crowd's faces gradually congealed. Those who were initially mocking the devil class for not knowing what's good for them also became serious. There were quite a few profound practitioner warriors who had once fought on the battlefield, but in the end, because of their power and status, they were forever stationed in safe places. After hearing these words, the flame in his heart that had long been extinguished started to burn again. All right, the Heavenly Academy respects the thoughts of the students. If the devil class is willing to give up this privilege, then this privilege shall be nullified. Yun Duan looked at the devil class with admiration. Although these children weren't very strong, they were still very strong. But they had the heart of an expert. As long as they were given a chance to grow. These children, who had been called trash by the entire academy, would definitely blossom with dazzling brilliance. Yun Duan thought that after the competition ended, the elder quarters would definitely have a discussion and rebuild the devil class. He's just putting on an act. He must think that he's going to lose for sure, so he might as well not give up on this special privilege. At least he can gain a good reputation. The students of High Profound Class 2 were discussing with sarcasm. Chapter 1206. That's enough. A soft reprimand came from the last row of High Profound Class 2. Lu Shuayu's face was as cold as ice. Seeing their class monitor's ugly expression, the students were so scared that they shut their mouths immediately. You are students from High Profound Class. Lu Shuayu's icy cold voice was devoid of any emotions. Why lower yourself to insult a waste class and let the other forces see us as a joke? The students from High Profound Class 2 felt that it was reasonable when they heard that. Each and every one of them nodded and bowed as they complimented Lu Shuayu. This farce looked calm on the surface, but in actual fact, it was turbulent. The competition kicked off. Under Yun Duan's instructions, each class representative went up to draw lots. Every class's representative was the class monitor. As for Devil class, it was Yi Qing Luo who went up to draw lots. Under the tense atmosphere that Yun Duan deliberately created, the four of them held the wooden lots in their hands. Following Yun Duan's command, the four of them opened their palms at the same time, revealing the color of the wooden lots. Low Profound Class 2 versus High Profound Class 1. High Profound Class 2 versus War Devil Class. This result caused another uproar. Numerous people were ridiculing whether this High Profound Class 2 had cheated in this competition. Why was it that the wooden lots he had drawn were always against classes whose strength was worlds apart from his own? Numerous people were envious of the High Profound Class 2's good luck. However, there was no excitement on the faces of these two classes who were going against each other. More accurately, both classes were extremely calm, like the calm before the storm. The atmosphere in High Profound Class 2 was indeed a little strange. The crowd discussed for some time, but they didn't hear a word from High Profound Class 2. Then they realized that those students' eyes were fixated on Lu Shuayu, as if they didn't dare to speak before she said something. The crowd was surprised. This Lu Shuayu was the vice president of the faculty council, so it was normal for many students to respect her. But apparently, those students were more afraid than respectful. Yes, it was fear. The students in High Profound Class 2 seemed to be very afraid of Lu Shuayu. Looking at Devil Class Yi Qing Luo, after she returned to the waiting area, she casually passed the wooden lot in her hand to a student. She immediately sat back on her seat, her expression was calm without any signs of nervousness. The onlookers could not help but feel puzzled. Yi Qing Luo felt that since she was going to lose anyway, she might as well let loose and do it easily. Qing Luo, Lu Shuayu, is a little strange. Long Yun Zhan squinted his azure blue eyes. Yes. Yi Qing Luo responded calmly as her slender fingers rubbed her brows. Her feeling is different from yesterday, but I didn't sense any profound Yin Chi's presence from her. Yi Qing Luo's expression changed slightly. Lu Shuayu was a smart person. Shengguan Liuli had already played with the mysterious Yin Chi badly. If Lu Shuayu took the risk and made a deal with the dark forces, she had worked hard for a few years to become the vice president of the faculty council, but now it was completely ruined. Could it be, it was because of the competition these 2 days that High Profound Class 2 went from being an enviable class to being laughed at wherever they went? His heart was starting to twist. She tampered with the wooden stick. Long Yun Zhan glanced at the wooden stick in his hand coldly. Her target is us. Tampering. The head institute's elder was present, as were the representatives of the various powers and academies. Lu Shuiyu dared to make a move. Moreover, he did it right under her nose. Chapter 1207. Smell. Yiqing Luo's expression instantly turned cold. Right. Earlier when they were drawing the wooden lots, Lu Shuiyu had specially asked Yun Duan to start from her. Using the smell, it was easy to know what color wooden lot she had drawn. Using the smell, Lu Shuiyu could also easily draw the wooden lot which matched the devil class. Lu Shuiyu did this. In order to target devil class, she took such a huge risk. If the academy found out that they had tampered with the wooden lots, their ending would definitely not be worse than intermediate profound class 2. They somehow felt that the Lu Shuiyu today was extremely strange. So strange that it sent chills down their spines. Since Lu Shuiyu's target is us, then she must be fully prepared for this competition. Yiqing Luo squinted her eyes slightly as she took a deep breath. This competition, we are here to prove ourselves, to prove the existence of devil class, so there's no need for you to hide anything, just give it your all. Devil class's students were stunned when they heard that. Give it their all. Give it their all in the finals. Then, in tomorrow's finals, they would not be able to play any tricks that they were not prepared for. I don't want anything to happen to any of you. Don't forget, you're still injured. Yiqing Luo's expression turned solemn as her eyes swept past these students. I don't want you to wait for the effects of the medicine to wear off, adding injuries on top of your injuries. Devil class's students nodded their heads. After 2 days of competition, they had almost forgotten that their bodies could not take the strain of the competition. If they were injured during the competition, after the effects of the medicine had worn off, the injuries from the sneak attack, plus the side effects of the medicine, as well as new injuries. Even if they didn't die, they would at least lose half of their lives. On the stage, the competition had already started. The first competition was the battle between Low Profound Class 2 and High Profound Class 1. In the Low Profound Class 2's team, Yiqing Luo saw her own brother, who had actually taken part in the competition. Qing Luo, isn't that your brother? Qiao Jin's sharp eyes also discovered Yi Fengyu standing in front of the team. Is he all right? Yiqing Luo slowly shook her head. After saving Yi Fengyu, she didn't go to see him. With old man Guiyu around, she believed that Yi Fengyu would be fine. But she had not expected Yi Fengyu to take part in the competition today. Yi Fengyu had suffered such heavy injuries in just 1 day. Could he really hold on until the end of the competition? Once he stepped onto the stage, he would have to fight to the very end, until all the students in his class collapsed. In her heart, she was worried for Yi Fengyu. However, she did not stand up, nor did she say anything to stop him from participating. His own body, he knew it well. Yi Fengyu was no longer a child. This was his choice, so let him carry it out to the end. She couldn't protect him forever. There were many things that Yi Fengyu had to solve himself. Since Yi Fengyu had chosen to participate in the battle while injured, even if he was heavily injured and collapsed on the arena, or was about to face death, that was also his choice. He's your brother. He must be confident. As though he could tell what Yiqing Luo was thinking about, Qiao Jin gently patted Yiqing Luo's shoulder as he consoled her. Yiqing Luo replied with an indifferent Because Yi Fengyu was also in the competition, everyone was watching this match very seriously. Chapter 1208. No matter if it was defending, counterattacking or supporting the students, or they would walk around the stage, continuously pushing the students of the opposing team out of the stage. He seemed to be doing it with ease. He didn't look like he was seriously injured at all. Unknowingly, he had attracted quite a number of gazes. Yiqing Luo was the most attentive. Others were probably looking at how agile his skills were, how fast his reaction was and how strong his ability was. But in Yiqing Luo's eyes, She could only see a thin layer of cold sweat forming on his forehead. He could only see Yi Fengyu's body trembling slightly after he completed a series of counterattacks. She only saw his slightly frowning brows as he endured the pain. In the underground tunnel, he had suffered from the whipping from Yi Qingqian and Yi Qingling and had not fully recovered. He didn't specially stop the pain. He forced himself to take part in the competition. Since when did her Xiaoyu become so strong? Her heart ached very, very much. However, watching Yi Fengyu's performance on the stage, she felt a sense of gratification. A kind of feeling of a child who had been painstakingly raised had finally become a dragon among men. Students from High Profound Class 1 could enter the High Profound class. That meant they had outstanding innate talent and ability. In this competition, although under the strong cooperation of Low Profound Class 2, their defense was a little flustered. They had lost repeatedly in the beginning. Luckily, their reaction was fast. Very quickly they readjusted themselves. And then counterattacked. The competition on the stage immediately rose to the climax. Qiao Jin and the rest didn't even blink. Qing Luo, who do you think will win between the two classes? High Profound Class 1. Yi Qing Luo answered without hesitation. At that moment, those youngsters who were watching with their blood boiling looked at Yi Qing Luo in astonishment. Logically, Yi Qing Luo, who was crazy about protecting her own, should support her own brother. Low Profound Class 2 and High Profound Class 1 are evenly matched, that is already Low Profound Class 2's ability. Yi Qing Luo analyzed the battle situation, and through this battle situation, she told them how to choose the battle situation which was advantageous to them, to carry on the battle. Low Profound Class 2's aptitude is limited, and after the battle started, they launched a ferocious attack, forcing High Profound Class 1 to retreat. But they have forgotten that their own ability is actually not as good as High Profound Class 1 students. The longer they fight, the more physical strength and profound energy they will consume. Naturally, Low Profound Class 2 will show signs of fatigue in battle. As for the High Profound Class 1 students, not only are their talents stronger than Low Profound Class 2, their physiques are also stronger than Low Profound Class 2. Towards the end of the battle, it will be the High Profound Class 1 that will take over the battlefield. When Devil Class's students heard that, their brows creased as they pondered over Yi Qing Luo's words. Yan Xiao Yi suddenly understood and nodded. I understand. In fact, this is the same as the first round of the preliminary round, using our own physical strength. First exhaust the Xian Qi and physical strength of Low Profound Class 1, then counterattack. It's the same principle. Yi Qing Luo nodded with a smile. Indeed, as Yi Qing Luo had expected, just as the battle reached its climax, within the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the students of Low Profound Class 2 were completely defeated due to their lack of stamina. Yi Fengyu, who had been circling around and creating space for them to deal with their enemies, seemed to have opened up his wounds. Blood soaked through his clothes. Drops of blood slid down Yi Fengyu's arm. The students of Low Profound Class 2 no longer resisted, directly supported Yi Fengyu, and shouted to concede. This battle, Low Profound Class 2 lost. But their performance was seen by everyone present. Chapter 1209. The entire audience broke out in a round of applause. It was a gift for the Low Profound Class 2's perseverance and a celebration for the High Profound Class 1's victory. Both sides bowed and retreated from the stage. Soon, a manservant went up the stage to clean up the place and repair the damage. The areas which were damaged by Yi Qing Luo and Shengwan Liuli in the preliminary round were all repaired at the last minute. If the competition was slightly more intense, it would cause gravel to fly everywhere. On the stage, Yun Dun recounted the competition in an excited tone. His words were full of praise for the Low Profound Class 2. There were also praises for the High Profound Class 1. The first round of the finals, High Profound Class 1 wins and successfully enters the finals. After the manservant speedily repaired the damaged areas on the stage, Yun Duan then announced the start of the second round of competition. Yiqing Luo and Lu Shuaiyu led their own class's students and walked up the stage. The finals match. Once they lost, it would signify their elimination, ending the chance to participate in this year's interclass competition. High Profound Class 2 versus War Devil Class. Who would laugh till the end, who would enter the finals, and who would stop at the finals? In the eyes of the crowd, this wasn't a mystery. But when they saw Yiqing Luo's calm face, they had an inexplicable impulse to see an unexpected situation. Hadn't Yiqing Luo always loved to create miracles? Perhaps, Yiqing Luo had the ability to create another miracle and win against the High Profound Class 2. On the stage, the students from the two classes bowed to each other. Both parties seemed to have no lethality to the other party. But in actual fact, the atmosphere on the stage was already raging like a storm. Lu Shuaiyu's gaze towards Yiqing Luo was filled with a chilling killing intent. That killing intent made Yiqing Luo's slender brows crease slightly. Lu Shuaiyu had always hated her and she was very clear about this. Between her and Lu Shuaiyu, it was a relationship of mutual hatred. But no matter how much she hated her, Lu Shuaiyu had never wanted her life so desperately. Especially during the ability assessment before the competition, she had helped Lu Shuaiyu at the last minute. After that, Lu Shuaiyu rarely intentionally found trouble. One round of competition made Lu Shuaiyu turn black again. Yiqing Luo, this match, High Profound Class 2 must win. Lu Shuaiyu's voice was cold, her red lips moved as she said each word clearly. What a coincidence, me too. Yiqing Luo smiled. Lu Shuaiyu's eyes darkened, and a hint of jealousy flashed in her eyes. Aside from winning, I have an even more important purpose. Yiqing Luo's brows rose as her lips twitched in ridicule. Want to kill me? Lu Shuaiyu was startled. He had not expected Yiqing Luo to see through it so thoroughly. She had even calmly stated her purpose. Did she think that she didn't have the guts to kill her? The coldness in Lu Shuaiyu's eyes became increasingly sinister. Her red lips curled into a sneer. Confidence. Was he proud? She wanted to see how she was going to destroy Yiqing Luo's confidence and pride in this competition. She wanted to see Yiqing Luo become a laughingstock. Let those who trusted Yiqing Luo unconditionally hate her to the core from then on. Destroying a person does not necessarily mean killing her. Instead, he wanted her to live and suffer. Suffer devastation. No matter how strong you are just an earth profound fourth grade cultivator. How many people can you fight against alone? Lu Shuaiyu's delicate and cold face gradually turned sinister. A powerful profound qi, like a whirlwind, swept over in an unending stream. Lu Shuaiyu released her own profound grade. Chapter 12:10. Was this Lu Shuaiyu's strength? The onlookers were shocked. The students of each class were shocked. The students of the devil class were all suspicious of Lu Shuaiyu's power. Lu Shuaiyu was the vice president of the faculty council, so many things were handled by other members of the faculty council. Lu Shuaiyu took on the role of assistant and leader in every class training and competition. Over time, many students didn't have a deep understanding of Lu Shuaiyu's true strength. He only knew that Lu Shuaiyu was able to become the assistant of Si Yanmu, a student of the class of gods, and also the class monitor of High Profound Class 2. Her profound level must be extremely high, and she must be very strong. His memory of Lu Shuaiyu's strength stopped at last year's interclass competition. It seemed that she had not yet stepped into the earth profound realm. But, when Lu Shuaiyu's profound rank burst out from her body, the whirlwind in the arena was completely out of control. Yiqing Luo speedily fanned her glower flame fan and rolled up a hurricane, blocking Lu Shuayu's explosive imposing manner. The strong and terrifying whirlwind had an irresistible pressure. It was terrifying and horrifying. Yiqing Luo's slender brows creased even tighter. She wasn't hallucinating. Lu Shuayu seemed to have changed into another person. This was not the aura that Lu Shuayu should have. Yiqing Luo had crossed hands with Lu Shuayu before, so she wasn't unfamiliar with Lu Shuayu's presence. But, after this mysterious qi appeared, it had a strange and terrifying aura. It wasn't Lu Shuayu's aura. Yiqing Luo's heart suddenly trembled. Could Lu Shuayu be, in order to win, he intentionally found someone to replace him in the competition? My God! The Vice President of the Heavenly Academy has such a high profound grade. Earth Profound Level 7. No. His Xian Qi was still skyrocketing. Earth Xian 8th grade. He's already at the 8th grade of Earth Profound Realm. Impossible. I can't believe my eyes. Heavens. Heavens. Earth Profound 9th grade. He's already at the 9th grade of Earth Profound Realm. The spectators stood up excitedly, pointed at Lu Shuayu on the arena, and shouted excitedly. A 9th grade Earth Profound Xian practitioner. He was only a step away from becoming a Sky Profound Supreme. In the entire West Continent, the number of 9th grade Earth Profound practitioners that could be found could be counted on one's fingers. It was not just the onlookers who were excited. Even the dean, the elders, the headmaster, and the elders of the headmaster stood up in unison. He looked at Lu Shuayu, who was at the 9th grade of the Earth Profound Realm, in astonishment. This action instantly made the calm and elegant Supreme Mo, who was sitting leisurely on his seat, look extremely eye-catching. Dean Xian, what's going on? This student is so young and already so accomplished. Why is she in high profound class 2 and not allowed to study in the class of gods? The vice president of the general hospital furrowed his white eyebrows and looked at the president. The shocked expression on the dean's face froze. He immediately smiled apologetically and bowed to the vice dean of the headquarters. After this inter-class competition, this student will be sent to the class of gods to study. The vice dean of the general hospital frowned and stared at the dean for a long time. Then he retracted his gaze and looked back at the arena, at the student who had performed brilliantly. The dean felt a chill down his spine. A thin layer of cold sweat soaked his white robe. On the stage, under the resistance of Yiqing Luo and the other students, this burst of profound qi which burst out from the body was finally pushed back. Devil classes students wiped their sweat as they panted heavily, looking as though they had expended too much energy. In actual fact, their performance wasn't an act. Although their current abilities had received a huge upgrade. And through their rapport, they could make up for the lack of profound grade. But the opponent was an Earth Profound 9th grade cultivator. Powerful profound qi, they were able to withstand it and weren't injured. This palm made Yiqing Luo had no choice but to raise her guard as she looked at Lu Shuayu vigilantly. This Lu Shuayu was indeed at the 9th grade of the Earth Profound Realm. This profound rank was not fake at all. The difference of 5 grades was comparable to the difference of a galaxy. Yiqing Luo had been making use of her unique footwork, and even if it was one of the 4 great saint techniques of the dark forces, Wolf Saint technique, it had no way of detecting it. She had always been confident. He could rely on this set of footwork to protect his life in any situation. But this Lu Shuayu's reaction was so fast that it made one's hair stand on end. This Lu Shuayu actually used her footwork to circle to her back and gave her a palm strike. Chapter 12:12. Earth Profound 9th grade was indeed powerful. It was totally different from Shengguan Liuli, who relied on profound yin qi to raise her profound grade. Yiqing Luo had enough confidence to defeat Shengguan Liuli, who was also in earth-profound 9th grade. But facing the mysterious person who was wearing Lu Shuaiyu's face. To defeat this mysterious person, it was impossible to go head-on. Is that all you've got? Lu Shuaiyu laughed mockingly. I thought you could let me enjoy a little more. I didn't expect. It's going to end now. She stroked her hair with a bored look. Rumors are indeed just rumors. Why do I need to waste so much energy to deal with a little waste like you? Yiqing Luo had long passed the age where she would be agitated by a provocation. Lu Shuaiyu's mockery was of no importance to her. She glanced at the wound on her shoulder as her lips curled into a strange cold arc. Her 5 fingers clenched tightly as the fan in her hand opened up, and immediately a strong hurricane was blown up. Profound chi went berserk as it crashed onto the arena. A biting cold red glow burst out from the devouring flame fan. She leapt up and the wind blades rose. I should be the one asking you this. Boom. Boom boom boom. The wind blades shot out and the red glow appeared. The wind blades from all directions chased after Lu Shuaiyu's evasive footsteps. The entire arena was hit by the waves of wind blades and the ground was filled with gravel. The arena cracked and was on the verge of collapse. You only have this bit of ability. Then. It's all up to me now. Yiqing Luo's voice was extremely cold. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard an even more deafening explosion that resounded right in front of him. Yiqing Luo displayed her footwork at the same time and swiftly got closer to Lu Shuaiyu. Lu Shuaiyu, who totally disregarded Yiqing Luo, had a gloomy expression. Earlier she felt that this lass was acting recklessly and wanted to repeat the same old trick. Just as she wanted to take the opportunity to teach Yiqing Luo a lesson, Yiqing Luo's aura had completely disappeared. As if she had completely blended into the air. Lost all her aura and suppression. But Lu Shuaiyu was very clear. Yiqing Luo absolutely could not disappear just like that. This knowledge made Lu Shuaiyu's gloomy expression gradually brighten up. The corners of his mouth curled up into a strange arc. The game required the prey to make some shocking resistance. That would be interesting. Her greatest interest was, she watched as her prey struggled and tried to escape, but in the end, he couldn't escape from her palm. The despair of her prey was her joy. Devouring flame first fan. Twin dragons emerged from the sea. A melodious and sweet voice resounded in his ears. A red shadow flashed past. The 2 soaring fire dragons coiled around each other. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it charged towards Lu Shuaiyu's face. The tyrannical profound chi fluctuated as the 2 dragons circled around each other, constantly colliding with the whirlwind created by Lu Shuaiyu. Boom! The vast waves of chi emitted banging sounds. Lu Shuaiyu was in the midst of her excitement and Yiqing Luo's attack was too sudden. The huge dragon bit Lu Shuaiyu's arm. Lu Shuaiyu's sleeves were instantly burned to ashes, revealing her snow-white skin. Lu Shuaiyu wasn't in a hurry to cover her arm. Instead, she reacted swiftly and released an even more powerful suppression, entering a stalemate with that huge dragon. The sneer and viciousness in Lu Shuaiyu's eyes grew deeper, and there was a tinge of madness and excitement. TSK. Yiqing Luo, you're going to get serious. Come on, resisting prey, let me hunt to my heart's content. She laughed softly. An exceptionally majestic suppression, at this moment, directly crushed that huge dragon into nothingness. Chapter 12-13. The soft whip was like a small black snake, smooth and translucent, and even faintly sparkling. There was an inexplicable eerie chill. The eerie atmosphere, along with the appearance of the soft whip, became more and more violent. Lu Shuaiyu waved the soft whip, waving it in the air, making a paw-paw sound. Vice President's weapon is a soft whip. Why do I remember? Liu family is famous for their sword skills. Liu family's sword manual isn't Liu family's ultimate skill. That's right, I remember all the vice presidents used long swords when they participated in the class training. The surrounding students were in a heated discussion, looking at Liu Shuiyu on the stage in astonishment. Could it be? Actually, Liu Shuiyu's natal weapon was a soft whip. The long sword was just her secondary weapon? Although they felt it was strange, but none of the students deliberately said anything. What weapon to use was decided by the students themselves, and no one else had the right to interfere. Liu Shuilan, who was sitting at the waiting area, turned slightly pale. A pair of shocked and astonished eyes stared at Liu Shuiyu's direction in disbelief. She clenched her fists unwillingly. This person was really her sister. When did Liu Shuiyu learn to use the soft whip as her weapon? And when did his profound rank reach the 9th level of the Earth Profound Realm? As Liu Shuiyu's biological sister, she didn't even know when Liu Shuiyu broke through to the Earth Profound Realm. Liu Shuilan's heart sank bit by bit. She really could never be compared to Liu Shuiyu in this lifetime. Liu Shuiyu had been hiding it from her from the start. Hearing the surrounding discussions, Yiqing Luo stared at the soft whip in Liu Shuiyu's hand, so daring. Looks like you're not worried that your identity will be exposed. Liu Shuiyu laughed lightly. The soft whip in her hand curved and floated, like a black soft snake. Exposed. I'm the eldest miss of the Liu family, Heavenly Academy Faculty Council's vice president. What other identity can be exposed? Saying that, Liu Shuiyu raised her brows. As her slender fingers covered her lips, I'd like to see how you can make others believe your nonsense. Yiqing Luo's eyes narrowed, and didn't reply. Before she could find any evidence that the opponent was not Liu Shuiyu, she rashly raised doubts to the main courtyard, doubting the authenticity of Liu Shuiyu. Not only would she be deceived by Liu Shuiyu and the mysterious man, she would probably fall here as well. Don't be overconfident too early. Yiqing Luo said lightly as the hand holding the glower flame fan swiftly tightened. Yi Yiqing Shuiyu Yu Qi. At the whip, Liu Shuiyu Qi. The black snake charged wildly towards Yiqing Luo's direction. Like a snake with a scarlet tongue, it seemed to have a life of its own. But moments later, that soft snake directly swallowed the profound light which Yiqing Luo released. Bang! There was a loud sound of profound qi colliding, and profound qi was dancing wildly in the surroundings. A gust of sinister black death qi, with the speed of a breath, instantly crushed Yiqing Luo's profound energy. Useless trash, how dare you talk nonsense in front of me? Liu Shuiyu's lips curled into a sinister smile. And. The students on the other side of the stage were stunned by the gloomy aura. The students of the two classes on the other side of the arena were stunned by the eerie aura. They all turned their heads and looked towards the direction of the aura. Chapter 12-14. Boss Qing Luo. Liu Shuiyu. Come at us if you can. This is a class competition. What right do you have to separate us? If you have the guts, then fight as a group. The devil class students stared fiercely at Liu Shuiyu, their faces filled with anxiety and ferocity. The high profound class 2 students recovered from the shock and immediately pounced towards the devil class once again. Devil class gritted their teeth in anger, but they had no way to defend against these beast-like high profound class 2 students. He could only shout out at the top of his voice, Boss Qing Luo. Come on. Beat up that pretentious woman. Beat her. Beat her up. Perhaps it was the encouragement from the devil class's students, as it reached Yiqing Luo's ears. Suddenly, Liu Shuiyu suddenly felt a sharp pain in her hand that had just brandished the whip. Immediately, she felt so numb that she couldn't even hold the whip tightly. Then, the soft whip suddenly appeared in her numb palm. It caused a violent tremor. It was as if it wanted to break free from her grasp. Like a real snake, it kept slithering around. Lu Shuayu's pupils suddenly widened. She immediately stretched out her other hand and quickly grabbed her wrist. With a clatter, the whip fell to the ground. Lu Shuayu staggered a few steps back. She was shocked, and her eyes were fixed on her wrist. Her slender fingers trembled as she tried to clench them. But his stiff and numb fingers couldn't even do something as simple as curling up. What was going on? Lu Shuayu wasn't the only one who was stunned. The crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. What happened? Why did Lu Shuayu's weapon fall to the ground? Lu Shuayu's complexion doesn't look good. Her hand. When did her hand get hurt? It seems like she can't move it. What happened? In order to pay attention to the Earth Profound 9th grade cultivator's battle process, I didn't even blink my eyelids. What on earth did student Yiqing Luo do? The onlookers screamed in horror. They didn't even see clearly what was happening on the stage. Quick, look! It was Yiqing Luo. There she is. Someone in the crowd had sharp eyes and saw that Yiqing Luo, who was originally suppressed by the black qi, had unknowingly broken free from the entanglement of the black qi. The red figure was like a night elf. Her clothes fluttered in the wind, and she was as cold as frost. There was not the slightest trace of emotion on her beautiful face. It was calm and unperturbed like a pool of stagnant water, without the slightest ripple. Her speed was extremely fast. In just a few breaths of time, she had already rushed to Lu Shuayu's side. The devouring flame fan in his hand opened up and slashed towards Lu Shuayu's back like a red blade. Violent and ferocious profound qi spread out wantonly. Lu Shuayu tried hard to adjust her breathing and move her hands. Suddenly, he heard the voices of the crowd. Her heart instantly tensed up, knowing that Yiqing Luo would definitely attack from the back. Bang! With a loud bang, the arena exploded. The sharp blade cut straight into the ground. The splashing gravel hit Lu Shuayu's body. Her fair arm was only grazed by a few pieces of gravel, but it was already cut open, and fresh blood immediately gushed out. After Lu Shuayu evaded Yiqing Luo's wind blade attack, she had already exhausted all her energy. The residual power of the profound qi hit her body. She lost her balance and fell heavily to the ground. Her entire body emitted a wave of intense pain. Lu Shuayu was drenched in cold sweat as she panted heavily. Bearing with the intense pain, her malicious eyes stared towards Yiqing Luo's direction. But she saw Yiqing Luo standing expressionlessly in front of her. On Yiqing Luo's face was an extremely ridiculing sneer. Chapter 12:15. Lu Shuayu was stunned into a daze. Her body trembled as her malicious eyes were filled with a thick murderous intent. However, the pain and numbness all over her body made her lose the strength to even speak. A sentence of righteous indignation came out of her mouth and became so soft that it couldn't be heard. But Yiqing Luo heard it very clearly. Her pink lips rose slightly without the fluster of being exposed. Her smile was extremely shallow with a hint of ridicule. She raised her brows and chuckled, "Where's the evidence? Who would believe you if you don't have any evidence?" Yiqing Luo returned the same words to Lu Shuayu. She couldn't produce any evidence that Lu Shuayu was impersonated. Then, could Lu Shuayu produce any evidence that she had poisoned her? Lu Shuayu's face turned pale. "You." She had not expected Yiqing Luo to use such a method to retaliate against her. She didn't believe it. Yiqing Luo really had some heaven-defying ability to poison her body without being discovered. Lu Shuayu's eyes were malicious as she secretly adjusted the profound qi in her body. From the profound jade heart, she spread out her profound qi and searched her body. She wanted to see what poison Yiqing Luo had poisoned her body. Lu Shuiyu searched while sizing up Yiqing Luo's expression. She seemed to be trying to find a little bit of emotion from Yiqing Luo's face. But the result disappointed her. On Yiqing Luo's face, from the start till the end, maintained that ridiculing arc which seemed like a smile yet not a smile, giving a look of allowing her to casually search for the poison. Lu Shuiyu's heart thumped. Her petite body gradually turned stiff. The expression on her face turned green and then white. What did you do to me? There was no poison, there was no sign of poisoning in her body. However, the numbness and tingling sensation throughout her body was so obvious. If it wasn't poison, then what was it? Yiqing Luo touched her chin and smiled innocently. What did I do? Who saw what I did? She had never been a good person. Nor was she a fair and just person who abided by the rules. Since Lu Shuiyu dared to find someone else to replace her and participate in the competition, it was fraud. She used her own way to retaliate, so why not? This should be called, all is fair in war. Vice President Yiqing Luo. What did you do to the Vice President? This time, it was the high profound class 2 students' turn to panic. 99 people, intercepting 61 devil class students. During the interception, the high profound class 2 students could clearly feel it. They had originally thought that they could easily take down these useless students. He was actually able to counterattack under their encirclement. 61 devil class students, not a single one was missing. Instead, they had forced them to eliminate 15 students. The students of high profound class 2 were not fools. At this moment, how could he not understand that these devil class students were not the trash they had imagined? If Lu Shuiyu was unable to suppress Yiqing Luo, their high profound class 2, perhaps today would really be the end of this duel. They absolutely couldn't lose this match. They did not want to be demoted. High profound class 2 students anxiously rushed over to stop Yiqing Luo from eliminating Lu Shuiyu. However, he didn't have time to move his feet. Then he was entangled by the students of the devil class. You want to leave? The gold coin darts in Xiao Jin's hands directly condensed into shape, blocking those high profound class 2 students. Give them a taste of their own medicine. You dare to stop us? Even if we have to risk our lives, we will stop you. Chapter 12-16. Student Yiqing Luo. Student Lu Shuiyu. Suddenly, on the main seat of the stage, the director banged the table and stood up with a stern look. Student Lu Shuiyu, what's wrong with you? If one looked closely, they would be able to see a flash of sinister cold glint in his eyes. What on earth was Lu Shuiyu doing? Wasn't victory already in her grasp? What play was she playing now? Why did she suddenly lose her battle ability and directly fell onto the ground? She was an earth-profound 9th grade advanced cultivator. Just one step and she would become a sky mystic overlord. No matter what, she couldn't possibly lose to a young lass like Yiqing Luo, right? Something must have gone wrong. The spectators were puzzled by Lu Shuiyu's sudden inability to battle. There were even some who guessed that Yiqing Luo had secretly played some tricks. But very quickly someone retorted. Yiqing Luo wasn't silly. How could she possibly play any tricks in front of thousands of people, the elder from the Heavenly Academy and the higher-ups? If Yiqing Luo really did something, the main courtyard had already called for a halt. At this moment, the moment the director spoke out, it immediately attracted everyone's attention. Lu Shuiyu laid on the ground, her petite body was still stiff. That bursts of piercing pain, accompanied by the numbness of her entire body, made her extremely miserable. Hearing the director's question, she forced herself to take a deep breath and wanted to tell him about her current situation. No matter if she was poisoned or not. as long as the director wanted to investigate this matter thoroughly. Yi-Ching Luo would definitely not be able to escape the suspicion. Even if there was no evidence, Yi-Ching Luo would also bear the reputation of suspicion. Student Lu Shuaiyu's body doesn't seem to be very well. Yi-Ching Luo was the first to speak with a sincere smile. Student Lu Shuaiyu's face seems to be a little uncomfortable. Why not we stop the competition and let the doctor take a look? Face. Lu Shuaiyu's petite body suddenly stiffened. The expression on the director's face also froze. Following that, their four eyes met. Their expressions and interactions were extremely secretive. But Yi-Ching Luo, who had been paying attention to the both of them, had seen all of their emotions and interactions. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, as a smile bloomed on her lips. In the crowd's eyes, Yi-Ching Luo's words were said with sincerity and sincerity. Her eyes were filled with concern and a request to the dean. All these indicated Yi-Ching Luo's concern for Lu Shuaiyu. Who said that it was Yi-Ching Luo who did something, causing Lu Shuaiyu to lose her ability to battle? See that. They were willing to stop the competition and let Lu Shuaiyu go to the medical hall for treatment. There was no such thing as looting a burning house. Because Lu Shuaiyu's body wasn't feeling well, she was directly eliminated. After all, a 9th grade Earth Profound Realm Xian practitioner was too shocking. Moreover, even if Yi-Ching Luo used Lu Shuaiyu's inability to battle as an excuse to let High Profound Class 2 find a substitute, it was already considered as Devil Class's magnanimity. Now, Yi-Ching Luo directly said to stop the competition and let the doctor take a look at Lu Shuaiyu. He didn't take advantage of the situation. He also did not take the opportunity to replace Lu Shuaiyu, a 9th grade Earth Profound Xian practitioner. There were even some onlookers who spoke directly. If the matter of Lu Shuaiyu losing her battle power was caused by Yi-Ching Luo, then he would swallow 10 caddies of sand in front of everyone. Hearing this oath, Yi-Ching Luo almost choked on her saliva. This crowd that trusted her so much, just because he trusted her so much. She promised that she would not let him have the chance to swallow these 10 caddies of sand. Chapter 12-17. Master Guiyu. That crazy old man who wanted to take Yi-Ching Luo as his disciple? That crazy old man who was so protective of his shortcomings. Lu Shuaiyu had naturally heard of the rumors about Guiyu. She was also clear about Guiyu's ability. If Guiyu were to do the consultation, her identity would definitely be at stake. Immediately, Lu Shuaiyu propped up her body, gritted her teeth and looked at the director. No need, I'm fine. But student Lu Shuaiyu doesn't look fine at all. Yi-Ching Luo continued to stab her. I said I'm fine, so I'm fine. Every word came out from the gaps of her teeth. When the last word of this sentence was spat out, Lu Shuaiyu's tingling and numb feeling suddenly disappeared. Her tightly knitted brows had slightly eased up. The effect of the drug. Had it run out? Lu Shuaiyu's expression suddenly changed. The soft whip in her hand swiftly lashed towards Yi-Ching Luo fiercely. The soft whip lashed the air, bringing a swoosh swoosh sound. Immediately, Lu Shuaiyu's figure was as agile as a soft snake. With a flip, she bypassed Yi-Ching Luo's side. That soft whip slid, bringing along an extremely ferocious profound qi. As if it had grown eyes, it wrapped around her body. That soft whip brought along a gloomy and cold air of death. When it stuck close to her skin, Yi-Ching Luo couldn't help but shiver. Damn! Lu Shuaiyu was just bluffing. That's a good trick. Deliberately pretending to have no fighting power, taking the opportunity to sneak attack Yi-Ching Luo. This student Lu Shuaiyu's scheming is simply too deep. Earth Profound 9th grade cultivator still needs to rely on sneak attack. Could it be that Lu Shuaiyu can't defeat Earth Profound 4th grade Yi-Ching Luo? The onlookers were shocked by this change and started to discuss among themselves. No one had expected that Lu Shuiyu, who was lying on the ground and even the director was alarmed, would suddenly launch an attack on Yiqing Luo and completely clamp down on Yiqing Luo. No matter who it was, they would also think in the direction of conspiracy theory. And the main character who was being discussed, Lu Shuiyu, turned a deaf ear to those questions. A pair of malicious eyes stared venomously at Yiqing Luo, who was restrained by the soft whip. His sinister laughter made one's hair stand on end. To her, it didn't matter what kind of infamy or slander Lu Shuiyu would encounter in the future. Her most important task was to act as Lu Shuiyu well and obtain victory in this competition, successfully eliminating devil class from the competition. Yiqing Luo. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you grow wings. Lu Shuiyu gritted her teeth as she whispered curses into Yiqing Luo's ear. She tightened her fingers and narrowed her eyes. The moment he moved his profound energy, a powerful aura instantly surged through the entire arena, covering the sky and covering the earth. The waves caused by the profound energy came one after another, layer upon layer, and they were like surging waves. This stance obviously wanted to skin Yiqing Luo alive in front of everyone. The students of devil class were on tenterhooks. The students of high profound class too could not be as excited as before. The leaders of their two classes, it made one's heart beat erratically. One moment he was wild with joy. One moment, he was in a frenzy of fear. If this went on, the two leaders wouldn't fall. Their hearts couldn't take it anymore and fell down directly. Yiqing Luo's expression was still calm, as though the person who was restrained by the soft whip wasn't her. Lu Shuiyu was unable to move. It was like numerous silver needles were constantly pricking her internal organs, causing her to be drenched in cold sweat. Lu Shuiyu's face sunk as she stared at Yiqing Luo in disbelief. What was going on? Yiqing Luo was bound by her and had no chance to move. How could he poison her? Lu Shuiyu's self-confidence and arrogance had been completely destroyed by Yiqing Luo's poison. Yiqing Luo stepped on Lu Shuiyu's whip and looked down at her condescendingly. The corners of her lips curled up, forming an extremely shallow cold arc. Student Lu, you've already fallen into my trap once and still don't know how to be smart. The cold voice was like a pearl falling on a plate, crisp and melodious. But in Lu Shuiyu's ears, it was ear-piercing and made her sick of it. Chapter 12:19. Lucky my ass. Lu Shuiyu was so angry that she almost vomited blood. So Yiqing Luo was a medicine person. She had so many different kinds of poisons on her. From Yiqing Luo's words, it was obvious that Yiqing Luo had more than one kind of poison on her. Don't be agitated. The more agitated you are, the more the numbness and pain will seep into your limbs and bones. Yiqing Luo blinked her eyes innocently, and the more agitated I am, the longer the duration of the medicinal effect will be. You. Lu Shuiyu's face turned pale as she stared fiercely at Yiqing Luo. Her eyes were filled with malice. Lu Shuiyu had not expected Yiqing Luo's brain to turn so fast. Relying on the fact that she could not reveal her identity, and knew that she could not reveal her identity. Deliberately using such a method, even if she was poisoned, she would not dare to seek help from the director. Once she sought help, Yiqing Luo would definitely implicate Old Man Guiyu. Even the director couldn't suppress Old Man Guiyu. By then, the fact that she was not Lu Shuiyu would be made known to the public. Moreover, there was no trace of any poison in her body. Even if she had to sacrifice her identity, she had to drag Yiqing Luo into the water, insisting that Yiqing Luo had poisoned her. But there was no evidence, so the main courtyard would not believe it. Sinister. Too sinister. Yi Qing Luo, this slut. How could she be so sinister? Lu Shuiyu was so angry that her face was twisted. Yi Qing Luo snorted lightly and no longer had the mood to tease her, so, student Lu, goodbye. Lu Shuiyu's heart sank. A drop of cold sweat rolled down from her forehead. She stared at Yi Qing Luo in horror. Suddenly, there was a sharp pain in her abdomen. Lu Shuiyu only felt that her body seemed to fall apart, as a force of gravity pushed her backwards. Bam bam bam. Accompanied by a blood-curdling scream, Lu Shuiyu was pushed to the side of the arena, and a large area was crushed. The surrounding people drew in breaths one after another. The crowd's expression changed greatly, feeling that it was inconceivable. On the arena, the strong pressure set off a hurricane, and the entire arena was awed. The strong wind blew against the young lady in red standing on the stage, as her clothes fluttered, as if she was a flower petal that bloomed along with the wind. She just stood there with a calm expression on her face. But, Lu Shuiyu was lying in the debris of the wooden frame. There was blood at the corner of her mouth, and there were cuts on her body from the wooden frame. The place where Lu Shuiyu was, outside the arena. Lu Shuiyu was eliminated. The expressions of the onlookers changed drastically. Earth Profound 9th grade Lu Shuiyu was struck down from the arena by Earth Profound 4th grade Yi Qing Luo. Furthermore, it seemed that Yi Qing Luo had obviously not used her full strength. Furthermore, Lu Shuiyu tried to cheat again and again. In the end, he still wanted to use the same method to make Yi Qing Luo fall for it once again. As a result, the scene exploded. Lu Shuiyu's character is really questionable. She deserves to lose. Vice President of Faculty Council, I don't know what's going on with the Heavenly Academy this year. How can such a person be the vice president? Isn't he leading the students astray? An outstanding student like student Yi Qing Luo was allocated to devil class, that kind of waste class. It's imaginable that the current Heavenly Academy's foresight and ability to analyze students' abilities are no longer as good as before. The best academy is indeed just a legend. Voices of doubt, pity, and discussion rose one after another. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.